Now, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar. Today we have a very special guest. We've got William from Alan. We're going to talk about costs of the inefficient processes of international payments. But before we do that, we'll just wait for a few more guests to join us today. Obviously, William, we've been going through this geopolitical situations in Dubai, and we're both based in Dubai, so we're experiencing what's going on. From my side, I know that there's a number of businesses that have been affected, but there are some businesses that are thriving as well, and there's a lot of support that's coming to the region. Do you want to just share some insights in terms of what's going on, what you're seeing at the moment? And we'll go into more of how Alan is supporting, and then we'll go into the main topic as well. But do you want to just give us some insights that you're seeing at the moment?
Yeah, for sure, Rehan, and thank you for having me. So naturally, like you'd assume, or rightfully so, like you're saying, a lot of businesses have been impacted. We see this a lot more in certain sectors, especially when we're looking at those who handle travel, who handle vacation homes and short stay rentals, hotels and whatnot. So as a land, we're kind of uniquely positioned to have a view across all different sectors. So we get to have an understanding of how these different sectors spend and what they spend on, more or less. You'll be surprised to know that the largest impact was actually during the first half of last month. But towards the last 2 weeks of last month, when things kind of stabilized a bit, we actually saw the average daily spend levels actually start increasing to a bit around 80 to 90% of what we used to see before the entire crisis started.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense, because obviously when it first happened, everyone was panicking and buying and not knowing what to do, and the tourists that were here, they just wanted to leave straight away because they've never been to Dubai, they don't know what Dubai is about. But yeah, I fully agree on that. I mean, for a lot of our clients, we've had situations where some of them have been affected negatively because they are directly impacted, but some of them have recovered and are starting to see some of the normal levels of business, not fully recovered, but not as low as it was when it first happened. I need to introduce you as well. So while I got into it, let me make a quick introduction. So my name is Rehan. I am the co-founder of Taxstar, also the founder of 𝗪𝗲𝗄 Partners. So I run a tax technology company as well as an accounting firm as well. Taxstar has a corporation tax product, and we're also working on e-invoicing. 𝗪𝗲𝗄 Partners, we help accountants, we help small businesses with bookkeeping. William, you're the GM at Alan, so do you want to just give us a quick introduction about yourself?
For sure, Rehan. So I joined Alan just over 2 years ago. I'm part of the leadership team. I'm mainly focused on new product launches, so all things GTM for new product launches.
And one of the things that I also want to talk about as well, while we wait for more guests to join, is Alan has done something amazing, and that is you've rolled out a 3 million dirham program for businesses to support them, which obviously is unprecedented. You're a startup as well. You're in your Series A, and the fact that you're now pledging to support other businesses as well is very, very commendable. Do you want to just tell us more about that, the initiative that you're doing as well?
Yeah, for sure. So rightfully so, Rehan, like you mentioned, we're one of the most well capitalized fintechs in the region. So just last year we raised around $48 million in a Series A, which was one of the region's largest Series A. And we kind of felt that gave us a bit of a responsibility to give back to our customers. So we have a bit of, let's say, a war chest. And since we've been seeing a lot of our customers and businesses in general in the UAE impacted by what's going on, we figured that we can give back some of what we have, or from that position of strength that we are currently holding, back to these customers, back to these SMEs that are greatly impacted by what's happening. So those whose cash flows have been affected, those who need to make payments but are unable to make them on time, So what we've done is we've effectively pledged 3 million dirhams to help up to 1,000 SMEs, and essentially that translates to around 3,000 dirhams per SME, and they'll be able to use their Alan cards to make these essential payments like utility payments, like their DIWA payments or their telco payments, and with hopes that this will sort of alleviate the kind of pressures that they have when it comes to their cash flow, especially since might not have as much money coming in as before, but payables tend to not drop as fast as the receivables. So that's what we're hoping to do over here to help these SMEs, to help the impacted SMEs in the UAE. Anyone today can go to our website, can read more about this. So it's alan.com/sawa. The initiative is called Alan Sawa. So Alan, which is now, and Sawa, which is together in Arabic. So it's now together. And this is something that hopefully will provide a lot of value for SMEs.
Yeah, no, that's a great initiative. Also, we signed up to Sawa as well. So obviously, we're providing 50% off our subscriptions to the Alan community as well as Taxstar. As I understand, other businesses can also be part of the program as well. They can support the community as well.
Correct. So anyone who's willing to support, anyone who wants to offer their services at a discount, anyone who wants to give back to the affected SMEs, we're more than open to tie up and give value.
Cool. No, thank you for sharing that. So I think we'll go into the main topic, and the main topic is very much about how can in this time that we're in at the moment, we're looking at cutting costs and looking at how we can save a bit of money. Many businesses out here, we do international transfers, and one of the key gripes of entrepreneurs is the fact that they're paying very high fees when it comes to international transfers as well. I've used your product. It's great. It saved us money. We make some international payments. I make payments to the UK. I make payments to Europe, and it all worked very, very well. So do you want to just kind of tell us about this product and Supplier, that is, and how it can help entrepreneurs and accountants save money in international transfers?
For sure. So Supplier is actually the next, let's say, iteration of our product. So we launched around 4 years ago, focused mainly on corporate cards and spend management. But just earlier this year, we launched this new feature called Supplier. I'll talk more about it as part of my presentation. But essentially, we found that the general process of this is quite complicated of how to make your payment. So a lot of people don't like dealing with banks for one reason or another. And beyond that, the actual fees that businesses incur to make these transfers are quite large, or quite substantial. So if you're making a small payment, let's say of like $1,000 or something, you're going to have transfer fees, which end up being a very large percentage of that small payment. On the other hand, even if you're making a large payment where the transfer fees may not seem as substantial compared to the amount you're transferring, there's always some kind of an FX rate or an FX that's being applied onto these transfers to convert it from your local currency to the currency of the recipient country. And that ends up being quite significant. So it's mainly from these two angles over here where we are coming in at a more competitive cost. Obviously, I'll talk more about it, but from the transfer side, we're doing it at zero transfers. So we let businesses transfer to international corridors at zero transfer fee. And that FX markup is just a fraction of the markup which banks usually apply onto these transfers. So from those two avenues, you end up saving quite a substantial amount. And we can even go through an example later on.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
Very nice.
So do you want to just start your presentation?
Yeah, for sure. I'm good to go. Okay, awesome. So we already ran through introductions. My name is 𝗪𝗯𝗶 𝗪𝗃𝗲𝗿. In case anyone's joined since we ran those introductions, I'm part of the leadership team here at Alan, focused on new product launches. Today, we're going to be diving into, like we're just talking about right now, Supplier, talk about the general international payments landscape in the UAE, and more importantly, how we can help businesses save on time and money when they're doing these payments. Just a quick intro in general about 𝗪𝗯 to those of you who are new to or who haven't heard about us. We started our journey in Dubai. So we're a Dubai-based startup over here in the UAE around 4 years ago. We set out on a mission to help businesses go cashless and save time and money through smart corporate cards. From day one, we focused on spend management and accounting integrations, and we quickly established ourselves as the #1 expense management platform in the Middle East. And this is a title that's backed by over 500 customer reviews on G2. To date, we're trusted by thousands of businesses in the UAE of all sizes. So this is everything from your single owner businesses to the UAE's largest enterprises such as Careem, Rivoli, G42, and countless others. And just last year, we closed one of the region's largest Series A funding rounds at $48 million. Today, our product suite covers everything a business needs to manage and move money efficiently. We started with the Supercard, so enabling businesses to issue out unlimited corporate cards with built-in spend controls and unlimited cashbacks. And that means as and when your employees make their expenses, either within the UAE or internationally, our spend management platform captures all transaction details in real time, giving your team full control over approvals, policies, and expenses. From there, you have different accounting automation rules and policies that you can easily set up, which helps put your month-end close on autopilot. We also directly integrate with the most common accounting softwares, which means your expenses can automatically be pushed to your books. And we've also doubled down on AI. So 𝗪𝗯 is one of the first, or 𝗪𝗯 is the first fintech spend management platform in the region to integrate with OpenAI. And we've done a lot of cool stuff with AI from a VAT tax agent to automatically extracting and flagging data from expenses as and when they're made. But the topic we want to talk about today is SuperPay, which is 𝗪𝗯's newest feature addition. And it's what we believe is the region's most advanced and cost-effective B2B international payment solution. So we built this feature, we built SuperPay because we kept on hearing the same thing from our customers. And that is making international payments is slow, expensive, and painful. Every year, the UAE's businesses make around $500 billion worth of international transfers. And this is actually 25 times larger than the market size of corporate cards, or the payment volume of corporate cards. It's a massive market, but despite its size, very little has changed over the years. And businesses primarily rely on legacy providers. So we're talking about banks, exchange houses, who tend to lag a bit more when it comes to having a very nice digital interface. With these legacy providers, businesses usually face two main problems when it comes to international transfers. So first, the process itself. To make a business transfer, you'd likely need to shift between at least two different tools. You'd probably use your accounting software to record payments. You'd see what payments you have to make this week on a spreadsheet or something. You'd check with a few different banks for pricing. You'd ultimately choose one of those banks to make the payment. And throughout the whole process, you'll probably be using maybe WhatsApp to chase down your approvals or to receive an invoice from your supplier. The process looks different from business to business, but the common thread is that it's probably a lot more difficult than it should be. And that's one thing we've set out to fix over here with 𝗪𝗯 SuperPay. The other problem is when it comes to pricing. So today, when you want to make a transfer through a bank, you're probably faced with a bit of uncertainty around how much this is going to cost you. So be it either you're not sure what the final FX rate will be, you're not sure what the FX markup is, you're not sure how much you'll be paying in terms of fees. And this is a problem that's been common to the businesses we've spoken to and also to ourselves, because similar to businesses, we also used to handle our international transfers through traditional banks.
Can I also add two more things as well?
Yeah, of course.
When you make international payments, there's an unknown intermediary bank that handles it as well, and you have no idea who they are. You have no idea if there's a problem. There's no way to contact them, and if there's an issue with a payment, your bank has to contact them, and then they contact the bank in the home country as well. So when the payment goes wrong, it could be weeks before you find out what's going on and before you get the payment back. And sometimes they add their hidden charges as well, right? So whatever you're paying today is not going to be the same. The other issue that I found with international payments is there is an alternative, and that alternative is a broker. So sometimes you get these brokers who come up to you and say, look, we will make the payment for you and we'll give you a great rate. And I know that a lot of companies and people have had good experiences with brokers. But if you have a random broker from London contacting you and saying, look, we'll make payments for you, how can you trust them? And are they regulated in the UAE as well? Right. And so that, although it's a good option to save money using a broker, it could be that some of these brokers are actually not regulated in the UAE. So if anything goes wrong, you've got no recourse. And so I think, and we've not gone with brokers specifically because we're based in the UAE. We want to deal with someone based in the UAE as well, right? So just thought I'd share those 2 points as well.
That's a very good point, Rehan. Thanks for sharing. So the way we're doing this feature is actually under the regulatory umbrella of the UAE. So we still have to go through our regulated banking partner over here. And essentially we still need to have that check on the recipient beneficiary and on the invoice that is being used to make that payment. So rightfully so, like you mentioned, there's a lot of questionable ways to get this done. But as I'm sure you agree with me, one of the most important things is having a proper auditable trail, which is legal, which is compliant as per regulations. And ultimately, hopefully, will save you some costs. So thanks for sharing, Rehan, over there. And like you mentioned, so yes, we always say that there's a transfer fee, but it also depends on your bank. It also depends on the receiver's bank. So while you may have a bank fee of, let's say, a fixed fee of 50 dirhams, depending on the bank that you have and the bank that your supplier uses, you may also face some kind of a correspondent bank charge, which is usually a surprise after the fact. So it's kind of like a shot in the dark. So what you end up seeing, or if we're going to break down this cost to make a transfer today with a bank, your first thing over there will be the bank transfer fee. And then you may also have a correspondent bank fee on top of that. All in all, you're probably looking at somewhere between 50 to 300 dirhams just in fees. Then on top of that, you've got the FX conversion. So your bank takes the mid-market rate, which would be something very close to what you see on Google. And then it takes that rate and then it applies a markup on that rate of around, let's say, 3% plus or minus. On our side, or with SuperPay, what we're doing is once you make these transfers, or once you want to make these transfers, one, you'll see the cost up front. So you'll have an idea exactly of how much you're going to be paying. And that cost is going to be a 0 transfer fee. And the FX markup will be a competitive 1% FX markup compared to the markup of 3% that banks usually charge you. Now, if we want to take a practical example, and this is something that actually happened just this week. So say you want to transfer £20,000 to a supplier in the UK. To start, one of the most important things here to note is when you transfer with Alan, the amount you need to send will be the amount the supplier receives. So your supplier won't be receiving any less or any more. So that's, in this case, exactly £20,000. To make that conversion, while your bank would be likely applying an FX markup of around 3% on the mid-market, with Alan, that markup would be around 1%. So running the math on that difference between what the bank would be charging you for an FX markup versus what Alan will be charging, that's a 5,000 dirhams in saving just on its own on this 20,000 pound transfer. And once you add in the transfer fees, it ends up being a bit more than that. But the idea here is that we're looking at only one transfer. And if you're able to save 5,000 dirhams on a single transfer of 20,000 pounds, these savings are going to add up very fast, especially when you consider how many international payments your business makes in a month, let alone in a year. And beyond the payment themselves, SuperPay also has the needed AP automation workflows built right in. So you can either use it for the payments themselves, or you can think of it as a full AP automation suite. You can visualize this as two connected workflows. The first one is your invoice management workflow, where you can get the invoices uploaded into the system, either directly or via email. The system's AI will scan those invoices, extract the necessary details, and route them for approvals. And through this, you'll be able to manage the entire payable process in one place. Moving from that, you'll also be able to make the payments from Alan as well. So both your invoice management or your invoices approvals will run through through the same platform as your payments approvals.
Yeah, and I think this is quite important as well, because when you're doing a payment process through the bank, when you're making a payment through a bank, you're just doing one process, and that one process is just basically making the payment. But in most companies should have strong financial controls, right? And one of the things that many big businesses do, but some small businesses should also do, is not just review what you're paying, but why you're paying as well. And so one thing that we've benefited from this is that we can get our invoice into Alan, it scans it, it produces it in the system, and then it can go through the approval of, is this expense actually approved or not, right? So for example, we've got like a marketing invoice. The marketing manager needs to approve that invoice before it goes to myself, for example. So once that's done, I know that the actual expense has been approved, and we have a budget for that, and that's great. The next stage is, the accountant then makes sure that the bank details are correct, and we're able to then make sure the right money is going to the right place, and then it comes to me to approve, and then I approve it, and then it gets sent. And the other great thing is we can then download a PDF of the actual proof of payment and just send it to our customers. Sometimes with the bank, it's just so difficult to download that proof of payment. Like, you just literally have to click 4 or 5 different steps before you can actually download it as well. But in this situation, once the payment has been made, we can just literally click it straight away, and that's really helped us, share the proof of payments to our customers as well, because that is also important as well. Sometimes, people withhold services unless they get that proof of payment. So I think it's been quite a good, well thought out process that has saved us a bit of time and effort in the way we've done our payments as well.
Love to hear it, Rayhan. Love to hear it. And that's what we're aiming to get done. And that proof of payment is actually a very important point. So we've picked up that is in each of our customer conversations. Everyone always asks about the transfer slip, about the proof of payment. And one thing we'll be launching now, actually within this week or before the middle of this month, whenever you have your supplier registered into the system and you put in their bank accounts, you'll also be adding their email address. And so they will automatically be receiving a proof of payment from Alan and across the entire, with regular updates. So instead of you downloading that slip, let's say sending it over to whoever in your company is working or dealing with the supplier, having them send it over to them, or obviously after they've followed up with you maybe two or three times, that's all going to be automated through the system as well.
And that's a hidden cost, right? It's a hidden cost. You've mentioned that you save money in the transfer, but what you haven't mentioned is obviously I have to spend time communicating. My accountant has to spend time communicating. My marketing manager has to spend time communicating. It all adds up. It could be just for one payment, we're spending like half an hour, right? And the combination of that cost of half an hour could be 1,000 dirhams, for example, right? So automating this process, the hidden value is the time, and especially in the situation we're in right now, we're all having to deal with crises, with we've got so many things we need to deal with within the business. The one thing we want to save time on is an actual process, and if we can do that, and that will give us a lot. I'll have less gray hair in my beards, and people have less things to stress about. And I think those little things are very important as well in these times, in a crisis period as well.
Fully agreed. Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's actually one of the core principles. So I always like to think of so we always talk about Alan as a spend management company, or corporate cards, or international transfers, but fundamentally at its core, it's a savings company. And it's not only savings on the cost of the transfer, or savings in maybe the cash back we give back on our cards. It's a savings on the time, the effort, on the cost of having errors in the manual things you might have had to put in before. All of those are being saved once you adopt a system like an Alan. And you might think it's just like 2 minutes of effort, or a minute of effort or something, but that context switching in its own does so much more in terms of the general efforts and cost implications on your business. So the ability to actually have all of that automated and streamlined through a tool where you can just log in any moment, just double check, make sure everything is working, is one of the key benefits that our customers have always spoken very highly of. So it's great to hear that you're also having that same experience. Super, awesome, great. And obviously we're happy to open up the floor for more open floor discussion and Q&As later on. I'm just going to quickly skim through a few more things just for everyone's reference. So in terms of capabilities, when it comes to SuperPay, we've enabled invoice management and payment approval workflows. You can pay your international suppliers. You can also pay your international contractors or freelancers. So this could be potentially maybe your let's say SEO consultant or contractor. This can be maybe your travel consultant, etc. Any of these who you also have to be paying for services, let's say either in South Asia or in Europe, which is quite common over here in the UAE. You can also transfer, you can process those through the Alan platform. And this is where we're at today. In Q2, we're also planning on enabling domestic transfers. So payments within the UAE will also be handled entirely inside of Alan. And by the end of the year, our goal is to have a full coverage across all international transfer corridors. To date, we support payments across 50 plus countries, and this includes the countries of Europe, UK, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Philippines, and more. And we're constantly adding more countries based on our customers' needs. And if anything we discussed today resonates with the audience, we'd love for you to try it out. Be able to scan this QR code. You can sign up for free. You'll be able to make international payments with 0 transfer fees and preferential FX rates. All you have to do is scan the QR code over here, and a member of our team will reach out to you to share some more details.
Cool. No, thank you very much for the presentation, and I think this is timely advice for businesses who want to save money. There's a lot of businesses that are looking at their expenses and seeing where they can save money, and this is definitely an opportunity, especially if you're a business that's doing a lot of international payments, to save money on bank transfers, because in this time that we're in, the 100 dirham here, the 50 dirhams there, it all adds up. And also time is very important as well. If you're a business, you're gonna get loads of customers that you need to call up. You need to do renegotiations of contracts. You need to look at your cash flow forecast. You need to review your whole P&L and balance sheet from the start. And so being able to save time so you can focus on these things is very important as well. We don't have any questions at the moment yet, but okay. We've got a few questions already, timely. So the first question is, why is Alan not charging any transfer fee, and how is Alan benefiting from this?
That's a great question. So today, banks typically process international transfers through the SWIFT payment rail. What we're doing in Alan is we've partnered very closely with Visa. So for our corporate cards, our Visa corporate cards. For our international transfers, we're using a product called Visa Direct. And this helps, this sort of changes the commercials behind these transfers. So whereas your banks would have had to go through a lot of different routings, a lot of different banks and different kinds of fees over there. From our side, it's a lot more streamlined after the compliance finishes. And through Visa Direct, we're actually able to have a lot of savings and pass those on to our customers. And through that, the fees themselves are at zero. And the way we make money isn't on the fees, but rather on the FX markup, which is, again, a function of this partnership from Visa. So they'll make a percentage on that, and we'll take a share of it also.
Yeah, makes sense. The follow-up question to that is, can I use Alan for payments within the country and get personalized spend management stats? I think you mentioned something about, did you mention about your plans for in-country payments yet, or?
Yep. So we'll have that in Q2. We'll have that in Q2, hopefully. So please do stay tuned.
Yeah, no, I look forward to that as well, because then that means I have everything all in one place, not just my credit card spending, but also the bank payments as well. So yeah, no, I look forward to that as well. I can't see any more questions coming in. Any final closing thoughts from your side, William, in terms of, any advice you can give to accountants, to entrepreneurs in this period that you want to share?
Yep. Just, I'm sure they're all on top of it. Just be mindful of your costs. It's a lot easier to spend money than it is to make money, especially now in these times. If you don't have a system like Alan to track your costs, now would probably be the right time to do it, especially considering the new initiative 𝗪𝗲𝗄 that we have live right now. So you'll be able to one, better manage your costs, get a better handle over how and where you're spending, and two, also benefit from that, from the pledge we have for your utility payments.
Yeah, no, that's a great initiative that you provided. I think from my side, the key thing is time. And, as an accountant, you're going to have lots of requests from internally about what's going on, forecasts, budgets and all of that. And you're also going to have, as an entrepreneur, you're going to have all your customers you've got to deal with, all your suppliers, and dealing with all of the problems that you're going to face that you need to kind of firefight. And I think having a system that makes things easy is important. And I believe implementation isn't super complicated, right? You can just literally sign up, get some training. I mean, it's intuitive anyway. And literally, it's not like it's a 1 month implementation, right? I think it's pretty easy to use, especially if you're an end user. You're using a card, you need to upload a receipt. Pretty straightforward. Bank payments is a lot easier than a normal bank payment. So on average, how long does the implementation take?
So the implementation is practically plug and play, right? So opening up your Alan account follows the same process as opening up a bank account. So you do have to go through your KYB. You have to get some documents and do a bit of a compliance check. But once that's done, your account is active, and you can directly, within the same day, issue out, let's say, a virtual card, tie it to your mobile wallet, make payments. Likewise, within the same day, you can, you have a wallet on Alan, you can fund that in. You can directly do transfers also. So the platform is there from day one. There's no complicated integrations or implementations that you have to do. When it comes to accounting integration, even that is plug and play. So you won't need to have an IT team, or you won't need to have, let's say, some kind of software consultant or contractor come in to do this connection. You can get that integration with your books. So be it QuickBooks, Zoho, Xero, Odoo, NetSuite, etc., whatever it is. We've got that direct integration in place, which you can essentially get done and have both of your systems talk together within less than 15 minutes. And for each of our customers, we'll have a dedicated customer success manager that will guide them through, pick up the business requirements of that specific business, and help guide them on the best practices that we've seen with other similar businesses of that sector on how to set up the platform accordingly. But fundamentally, it's a very intuitive platform, and you can get started in the same day of having your account approved.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've seen that happen. So yeah. One more question. This is a pitch for you. This is your elevator pitch. What's the biggest advantage of using Alan over traditional finance tools? I'm sure you've had this elevator pitch many times, so over to you.
Yeah. So in that question, actually, there's a bit of a hint. It's traditional finance tools, plural. So the goal is that you'll have only one tool to manage all of your payables. And of course, having one tool where you have AI handling the first line verification of all of these manual processes, where you're able to just set up a few rules in the beginning and in a few minutes that will just streamline and automate the entire payables process for you. And of course, where you can track it down from one place.
Cool. Thank you very much for your time and insights. Obviously, if anyone wants a free demo, if anyone wants to sign up, obviously feel free to contact William directly. If you need any, as I said, we're offering our 50% off subscriptions on our corporation tax products. So if you want to save time in that whole process, feel free to reach out to us. We can give you that discount as well. William, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. And stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Rehan. The pleasure is all mine. Stay safe. Take care.
Take care.